Ooh, okay. Wow. So, um, I trust Amber and Jordan and their family are okay. And I'm going to read the theme for 2023, which is living out loud. The theme for July is speaking truth to circumstances. Circumstances do not dictate truth. Today's topic is got me hypnotized. On this topic, Ernest Holmes wrote, and man, he was on point with this. The resurrection is the death of the belief that we are separated from God. We're not. And Ernie knew it. And James Redfield reminds us that, in reality, there are no enemies. We're all souls in growth, waking up. All of us. Even those of us that stumble along a lot, like me. So let us affirm together. I wake up to the truth of spirit that I am. That's what today is for. And now I'm going to welcome Reverend Kathleen. Welcome back.
Got me hypnotized. Did you hear about the dentist who was also a hypnotist? Anybody? He uses a transcendental medication.
Where's Tom when you need him?
So while it may seem that we are awake right now, most likely we are sleepwalking through life. Well, maybe we're more awake now. But, much of the time, I am guessing, I could be wrong, that many of us are sleepwalking through life. Hypnotized by the media, or hypnotized by our own belief structure, social conditioning that started at birth about what life is supposed to be all about. So we're all immersed in this human experience or collective consciousness of humanity. That's part of the deal of being here. And then we also add to that our personal interpretations of what's going on. And all of that acts like a filter to filter what we experience. And all too often, and maybe for some more than others, that leads to conflict and suffering, hopelessness and powerlessness. Those filters that we carry around with us that we call sleepwalking through life or being in a transcendental medication, a trance. So today it's my intention to support all of us, me too, in waking up from the trance in order to remember who we are in truth, pure spirit, blessed with the power of creation. And so breaking the trance then, I have 3 different talking points. The first one is a willingness to recognize that we've been hypnotized, to recognize that all human behavior is either love or a call for love. And then finally, to really get that waking up is what this journey is all about. That's what it is. And And it is a waking up to oneness with all life and a waking up to the idea that love is what it's all about. That's our key task in life. So number one, recognize that you've been hypnotized. That I just talked about that. How many of you are aware that often you are hypnotized when you're in a funky state? That's a hypnotic state. It's a trance state to believe that we are separate. It's a trance state to believe that we are in any way not receiving the love that we want or whatever it is. So when you are experiencing with your five senses, what you're experiencing is a mirror or reflection of your belief system or your conditioned mind, that filtering system I was talking about. And your inner storyteller, the mind chatter, the inner storyteller, speaks from this distorted perspective. Tony Robbins was once asked if it's hard to hypnotize people into a trance state. And he said, no, actually, the difficulty is waking people up from their trance state. So waking up then from the hypnotic trance to actually experiencing reality from a pure state is what our journey is about. And before we can change the world out there, so much of us get involved in that, and those of us who really care want to make a difference. But before we can do that really effectively, it's important to change what is within. We talk about this all the time. And we also need to understand that the world out there really is, this world that we are experiencing with our five senses, is a world of effects. Jen was talking about that. Circumstances, they're effects. The cause is the infinite invisible presence of the divine that is revealed through each and every one of us. That's the causal state. So when we understand that all of this are just effects, we realize it's impermanent. It's impermanent, and we have the power to shift and change things with our thoughts, with our intention, just like we did when we started the service. And the power of by the way, the world of effects is a result of our collective and individual beliefs. And the power of the inner storyteller, which is the conditioned mind or the ego, comes from we give it power by our unwillingness to investigate it, to see if it's really true or not, and to discover if it's accurate or inaccurate. And it tends to be more comfortable, though, to stay in being right than to explore whether our story is accurate or not. And that shows up in all realms of existence. If we're going to speak truth to circumstances, let us then begin willing to see circumstances for what they are, effects. They have no power over us ultimately. So we recognize that we've been hypnotized, and then when we do that, we give ourselves the power to look at the story, that hypnotic story. So the next piece is love or a call for love. When we find ourselves feeling upset by people, circumstances, or organizations that we encounter, it's important to recognize that below the surface, we are all one. And we all want the same thing. What is it? Love, yes. In truth, all behavior is either love or a call for love, and that comes from A Course in Miracles. And the difference between love and a call for love is a call for love has some methods of getting love, because the belief is that love is out there and I must get it. or I must protect myself from being hurt. It's one or the other. And as a result, these very distorted methods become the way of showing up or behaviors. And if we go back to the original truth, that all there is love, the presence of spirit is omnipresent. Love is the energy behind creation itself. We remember that love is truly what we all want to experience, that is the ultimate of fulfillment, that sense of oneness and love. They go hand in hand. Then love shows up in the most delightful ways. So I'd like to share a story with you. When Devarius Peters arrived at his high school graduation commencement, he was told that his athletic shoes would disqualify him from participating. He was supposed to wear dress shoes. That was the dress code. So what happened then is that one of his teachers caught on to what was going on. The teacher's name was John Butler. And he immediately took his shoes off and gave them to Devarius to wear. That's love. That's love in action. It's a beautiful story, very heartwarming. And John Butler said later, this was an important moment in his life, and I wasn't going to let him miss it. A call for love is another thing. It ranges everything from asking for a comforting hug to all kinds of dysfunctional behaviors that can really either be annoying or even seem dangerous. And so the two major beliefs that run the show for that call for love perspective are, number one, I am separate from life, that belief that I'm somehow separate. And number two, that life is not safe. And we can call this then the trance of separation. And there are two major ways. Of course, behind all of that is the idea that love is out there and we've got to get it. And so the two major methods often used to get that love and to feel safe are, number one, trying to control life circumstances. And since life circumstances cannot be controlled, the person assumes I'm not enough, I'm wrong, I'm unlovable, I'm unworthy, whatever it is. You've heard those before. And another major method to get love and feel safe is to also say, well, I'm fine, but those people out there, they're evil, bad, and wrong. Since I can't control them, that's what it must be. And so relationships then tend to show up on something that's called the drama triangle. I've known it as the rescue triangle, but the drama triangle. And it's important to understand that and to see how it functions, so when we catch ourselves doing it, we can remove ourselves from it. And basically, this is how it works. Is a person feels victimized, and therefore they blame the person they feel is victimizing them, and so they become the victim, and the person they blame is the persecutor. And then, because they feel powerless to do anything about it, they run to somebody else who then is the rescuer and enrolls them to defend them. And it's all a call for love. So we're bringing compassion to this drama triangle, understanding how it works so that we don't get caught up with it. And then knowing this, we can then support ourselves and others in releasing the beliefs that cause the behaviors. We stop seeing people with dysfunctional behaviors as wrong or evil. And instead we see that they are people like ourselves who are desiring to experience love, using unhealthy methods to get there. And so as we do that, then we can begin to feel more empowered and more able to deal with people directly. We have something in our community that's called Go Direct. The Go Direct method, which means go directly to the person you're having the challenge with, is important because it's not only empowering, but it breaks that habit of using the drama triangle as a way to interact with other people. So Spirit is calling. Can you hear Spirit calling you to wake up from the trance of separation, to wake up from the idea that life is unsafe, and to wake up to the oneness, the wholeness, the completeness, and the perfection of who you are, and that love is truly what we all desire. So waking up. The word Buddh, Buddh, in Sanskrit means to wake up and to know. So Buddha then is the awakened one. While the rest of other people on the planet were sleepwalking through life, Buddha woke up, shook off the dream-like state, and began to see reality as it actually was. Ram Dass wrote a wonderful book called The Journey of Awakening, and in it he tells the story of back in 1967. I was around in 1967. I was in high school then. Anyway, Ram Dass spent, oh, there they are. We're so happy you're here. Yay. Amber and Jordan and yeah, they just all walked in. It's wonderful. Okay, and so in 1967, Ram Dass spent many months in his guru's temple in the process of awakening, with a desire to awaken fully. And at that time, he got a message, a letter actually, from Allen Ginsberg describing the Chicago Convention and the revolutionary protests that they were involved in. For a moment, he was shaken by this, and he said, oh my gosh, here I am in this restful place, kind of like I'm away at camp, and they're out there doing the real work in the world. They're on the front lines, and that's where I should be. And then as he studied the Bhagavad Gita, he came up with another perspective. He concluded that often it's easier to fight the external enemy than control one's own inner demons. And so he then felt that he was doing more for humanity by doing his inner work. Well, a little later he woke up to a higher truth, that everyone is being guided to do whatever their part is, and it's all good. So we can let ourselves be who we are and follow our own inner guidance. Waking up. Ernest Holmes wrote, we believe that the ultimate goal of life is complete manifestation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. Through study and spiritual practices, Ram Dass was emancipated from the dream or the trance that led him to some of his earlier decisions about what was the right thing to do. And when he finally woke up, he realized he had a higher perspective, a perspective that came from oneness and from love and understanding everybody is doing their part in this human drama. So by waking up then to oneness consciousness, we all become very clear that it's all about love. We're all interconnected, loving action. But the key, though, is to not go into, well, I already know that. That's I know that. I've heard that so many times. I know that. But we want to move from intellectually knowing it to embodying it so that it's in our whole neurobiology, our belief structure, so strong and so embodied that we walk our talk automatically. So that's what deep, consistent, committed meditation is all about. And that's the way in which we dive below the storyteller, the mind chatter, and catch glimpses of ultimate reality and embody it into our neurobiology so that we see with new eyes. The other way is compassionate listening. Very powerful. Compassionate listening is also a great way to break the drama triangle. Compassionate listening begins with ourselves when we're upset, to really listen deeply to ourselves. And I love the Course in Miracles that reminds us, I am never upset for the reason I think. We think it's somebody out there, blah, 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 blah. But really it's about understanding where the upsetness is truly coming from. What is the belief structure? And as we create a habit of compassionate listening with ourselves, it becomes easier to do it with other people. And then what happens is that we listen from our heart, not our position. We listen with curiosity and a desire to understand, and not a need to win an argument or prove someone wrong. And that was one of the not 1% or so during vacation that I caught myself off guard. It was something between Dan and I. I'm not going to go into the details, but I found myself defending my position instead of compassionately listening. But the good thing was I was able to see what was going on and then to do that compassionate listening with Dan later on. I was able to turn around. But initially, I got into defensive mode. So anyway, it's an ongoing process, this thing called compassionate listening, and to not be stuck in our position or stuck in wanting to be right. So I want to complete with a story. This is another story that I found really powerful. This is what happened while we were away. That the fire threats and the environmental concerns prompted many U.S. cities to let go of the idea of fireworks and instead to use drones to put on spectacular 4th of July events. How many of you heard that? I know. It's pretty cool. It's really, and so this is a quote from Andy Chapman of Incline Village in Nevada. He said, in deciding to use drones instead of fireworks, we asked ourselves, is throwing lit objects up in the sky in the height of fire season the best thing to do? Right? I know. To me, that's love and that's compassion. And so with fireworks, there's not only fire danger, there's the smoke, there's the debris, all of that stuff that pollutes, and the noise that stresses out dogs and people who have PTSD. I think of how many people avoid fireworks because it stresses them out. And so this is an opportunity, the drones, for everybody to participate and also to protect the earth. To me, that's such a great example of waking up. Waking up and doing something new and creative that serves the whole. That's love. That's love. And so let us then wake up. Let us wake up from the us versus them. Wake up from the distorted methods that we use to get love or experience love or to protect ourselves. Wake up from that hypnotic trance of separation and instead wake up to oneness, the interconnection of all life, and to love. And so as we do that, let us embrace meditation as a staple of everyday life. Something that we do like brushing our teeth or combing our hair. Let us embrace compassionate listening. Remember, the next time you're ready to defend your position, to instead go, oh wait, this is an opportunity for compassionate listening. I don't have to defend myself. I can just seek to understand where the other person is coming from. And therefore, we're no longer into winning and losing. We're into that which brings about greater love and connection. So let's turn within and breathe and realize in the fullness, the grace, the beauty, the magnificence, and the oneness of all life, the omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience of the one presence, the one spirit, the infinite invisible source of all that is, the first cause, that causal realm in which the essence of each one of us dwells, realizing we're individualizations of that one life, that one source, that we are blessed with the power of creation through our thought, through our attention, through our word. As we speak truth to circumstance, understanding that circumstance does not rule, that it truly has no power, that the power to shift this impermanent world and change it comes from within. And we have that ability. I'm knowing that we then shed with ease and grace the idea of separation, the idea that we're not safe. We shed with ease and grace the us versus them. We shed with ease and grace all of those dysfunctional methods to get love out there, which is not out there, it is in here. And therefore, love reigns supreme in our lives. Peace, compassion, joy, all the good that we've ever desired, that fulfillment that comes from within, that freedom to be who we are. And so I give my thanks for this beautiful emancipation, awareness, this waking upness that is supporting us in living our lives more fully. And therefore, I give thanks for that fulfillment. I release this word to the omni-action of universal law, declaring that it is done, it is so, and so it is. Amen.
Amen.
And so now,